Well, hey, welcome to the Tell Me More podcast. I'm Andy. This is my wife, Jessica.
Hello.
We are hanging out as we do all summer long on Sunday night, where we're just going to talk a little bit more in depth and a little bit deeper about what we talked about here at Oasis Church on Sunday morning here at 10 a.m. If you missed today's message, you can go back and watch it on YouTube and check it out there. But that's all I have to say. Oh, talk to us while we're hanging out on YouTube and Facebook. I've got YouTube pulled up here. Jessica's got both of them.
Both.
We missed a bunch of y'all this morning. It's the weekend of the 4th of July, and that just means
everybody stayed up real late last night.
Yeah, everybody, all y'all heathens that partied too hard last night,
Yeah.
I think it's funny. I said this to somebody this morning. I think it's funny that we celebrate like the freedom of our country and how safe we are in the freedom of our country by making it sound like a war zone for a solid week. You know what I mean? Like it sounds
America,
like bombs going off until like 1 o'clock in the morning here. It was pretty intense.
Yeah. Of all the places that we've lived, I feel like here they go all out for the 4th of July.
Well, when we lived in Florida, I don't think personal pyrotechnics was as much of a thing because we had so many veterans living around us.
Yeah.
And there was just a respect for
there was more like
those
city shows
military.
and stuff. Yeah.
We did. Do you remember
Oregon? I don't remember like ever doing fireworks in Oregon. I don't know why.
Well, because there was always a ban because it got so dry.
Maybe that was it.
During the summer. Yeah, I don't think
they didn't like the fire.
Yeah, because we had a guy in the church we were at in Oregon that ran a fireworks stand like 30 minutes away. And I want to say he said about every other week, or not every other week, every other year, it was a loss because they didn't know if they were going to be able to sell. They didn't know if they were going to be able to sell fireworks.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, you wanna tell them how I almost
killed us all.
The whole family last night.
Yeah, so, okay, Andy bought these really big fireworks. It's the ones that you are supposed to drop into the tube and it shoots up and goes boom and it's so pretty. Except for Andy didn't see the tube. I'm not quite sure.
I thought they were tubeless fireworks.
Yes. So instead of it shooting out of a tube, he just put it on the ground and lit them on fire. And then it exploded, pointing directly at us.
So full disclosure, the way that it typically has worked when I go to buy fireworks is I just walk into the fireworks store that Ron and Jennifer Hartman own here. If you don't know which one I'm talking about, it's the one in the white brick building.
By McDonald's.
Yeah, by McDonald's. And because they go to our church, I basically walk in and say, hey, here's how much money I'm going to spend. Just tell me what to get. So I am giving the least amount of attention to what I'm buying of probably anybody buying fireworks because I just let them tell me what to get.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. So I to be honest, like I know that some of them come with tubes and stuff, but I don't think we've ever bought any with.
I mean, like a couple.
Like
I don't know.
But they were like already in the tube when we bought them. This was the first time we bought one that you have to like put it in the tube. So in my defense, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I had no
And the tube was kind of hidden. It was like in the back of the box, and you had to like open up a part of it in order to get to the tube. So,
Yes.
But anyways, yep. So he lit them and just put them on the ground, and then all the sparks and fire came towards us and scarred poor Eden. But she'll be all right. She'll be all right.
She'll be fine. She'll.
And Jackson thought it was a blast.
Eden did
so
freak out a little bit. Eden was very scarred. Kenny, did we get that sort of kind of fixed? No? Are you not getting anything from it?
Jess is coming through just fine. You're echoing off of her mic. Your mic is not working.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
How about, is this guy working?
I hear that one, yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's, sorry guys, technical difficulty.
I'm gonna technicals.
Hold, please. I'm gonna scoot over. But
Well, if you guys do have any questions or comments, please make sure that you are jotting them down on Facebook Live or on YouTube. We are monitoring those, and so we would love to get your questions so that we can answer them as we're talking through today's message. So I am looking at what I see so far. We've got a couple people that are joining us. We've got Amanda Maravilla, Serenity, Gloria. We've got Preston. We've got quite a few people that are on that have said hello and hi in the comments. So you're welcome to do that as well. We love to see all of you joining us as we are on tonight. So
I got 2 mics.
we're a little janky.
We're
Some technical difficulties.
hang on just a second. Actually,
But if you would like, for any of you that are joining us on live, go ahead and stick in the comments if you guys had any fun experiences with your fireworks. We would, it's always fun stories when you have minor mishaps or burning yourself. Hopefully nobody blew anything off, any fingers, any digits. We kept it all where
man,
it
you
should
said
be.
that real intense, real fast. Blew something off.
I mean, but doesn't it happen like all the time? Like 4th of July, we're all playing with fire and things that blow up. I mean, it's
We
inevitable
actually-
somewhere.
Is that better, Kenny? No.
I heard it click, but I still can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
No signal on my channel.
Do we need to share my mic?
I think this will get it. Tell us, tell them about CJ Welch's.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have a mutual friend that we know that lives in Tennessee. I think they still live in Tennessee, right?
Yes.
They live in Tennessee. And so right after Andy almost murdered us all, it was funny because I guess that same friend of ours, we saw a video of the exact same thing happening, except for it was like a giant get together. So it wasn't just one firework, it was like multiple fireworks that got tipped over that they were trying to do at one time. And you just see the crowd and everybody army crawling across the lawn trying to get away from fireworks sparking and trying to shoot at everybody. So that was just
I think
fun
I'm
and
back on
interesting.
now. Am I good, Kenny? No?
It must be a cord.
I've swapped out the cord and the microphone.
Uh-oh.
It's one of those days. Kenny, you got me now?
Try again.
Hello. Okay. Cool,
Okay.
Cool. Either way, we're just gonna call it, and I'm just gonna talk real loud at this point because we have swapped out 2 cables and 2 microphones. So.
Uh-oh.
So all right, there we go. It's probably a cable. That is my guess. All right. So thank you for delaying us so attractively. So appreciate that. CJ, yeah. CJ his video looked like what it looks like in a horror movie. Like when aliens land. Like everybody was running everywhere. It looked pretty intense.
Yeah.
So,
Kind of scary.
well, hey, let's jump into the text and kind of get rolling. I'm going to read the passage from this morning, and then we'll go we'll go from there. But before we do that, can we get a round of applause for Kenny? Because Kenny, our producer, is making stuff happen, making sure we sound good. I would have had no idea that my mic was not working. So that's good. That's good to figure out. So, all right, let's jump into the text this morning. From this morning, Romans chapter 8, verse 18. This is Paul writing. He says, "For I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is revealed to us. For the creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the sons of God. For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be set free from the bondage to corruption and obtain the freedom of the glory of the children of God."
This is the text that we read this morning. What are some of the first things that popped out to you in the text, Jess? Or from this morning?
Well, this morning, when we had some technical difficulties this morning also in
It's one of them days.
So I
did
caught
it.
about 2/3 of the message. But what we it's interesting just kind of how we our perspective on some things and how we as a people, we kind of just assume that God works in certain ways, and I'm not quite sure if it's just misled theology or what it is. But what really struck me when you were talking about how we just have these things that we say as Christians where we're saying, well, God's hand is in it, or God's in control, or those types of things. But when we say things like that, we're not taking responsibility as people ourselves. And so which God is in control because he created this earth and he created our life and he created everything in it. And so, but we were placed inside of this earth, inside of this world with free will. And yes, we're going to have things that we go through. And yes, there are things that just happen, but most of the time that happens because of people's free will. It's because of people. It's because of the things that just happen. And, what is important is for us to understand that this life that we have been given is a gift because we have the free will to overcome the things that come against us. And we have the free will to heal, the free will to grow, to be better, all of those things. It's super important that we understand that yes, there's free will, and there are people that are exercising their free will that don't have the greatest intentions or that are making mistakes or whatever that do affect us. But we also, us ourselves, have the free will to heal and to overcome it in spite of what we go through. And that makes us better people just in general.
Yeah. I think a lot of times, you mentioned it earlier, that there are just things that theologically we say sometimes because it sounds good and it feels good to say it. I have a friend that used to say, hey, if it's crocheted on a pillow, it probably doesn't go very deep theologically.
Yeah.
And there's some truth to that. Like we call them Pinterest quotes now. I think
Sure.
like the things that people make graphics and throw them on social media. And I get the heart behind it. But the challenge is that sometimes in order to try to make people feel good or feel better about a moment or a season that they're going through, we'll actually say things that aren't congruent with Scripture over the entirety of Scripture. And so, we were talking off air before we jumped on, but one of the things that I didn't get to say this morning that I think is super important is understanding that the reason we say that God is sovereign instead of in control is we did talk about this, like all of the presuppositions that come with control in the culture that we live in is hard and also dangerous to what people think and believe. And
Yeah.
but it's impossible to believe in free will and that God is in control
Yeah.
of every little thing and aspect of your life, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember somebody one time, I pick on McDonald's a lot, but I'm going to do it again today. I remember somebody telling me one time, they were like, I've been blessed by the Lord because they figured out that they had like $100, like $100 of stuff on their app from McDonald's. And I remember thinking, that sounds like a curse. That does not sound like that sounds like a curse, not a blessing from God. It's trying to give God credit for every little good thing that happens. Well, the problem is if God is in the position of getting credit for every good thing, then God is also to blame for every bad thing. And so for us to understand the tension of free will, that there is a will and a direction that God wants us to go, there's a will and direction that God has ordained in our life. Our steps are ordered by the Lord, but that requires us to believe that just because the steps are ordered aren't necessarily those aren't necessarily the steps that we choose to walk through. And so there's a lot, it's a lot more nuanced. And I think it's important for us to recognize what we believe is messier than we think it is. And a lot of times we want to hold to truths that we can feel confident in and trust and believe in, and we need those things. But we can't, for sake of confidence, belittle God down to something that the scripture doesn't say that he does. You know, when I think about the idea, when people talk about God is in control, I think about the story of Noah, where God didn't ordain those people to live evilly and then take them out with a flood, but God chose to save the one who was righteous because he was following the steps ordered by God. And so to say that God both made those people evil so that he could drown them would make God a terrible God.
Yeah.
And so that's not a loving God. That's not a kind God. That's not a grace-filled God. So it's important that we differentiate between God being sovereign and all-powerful and all-authoritative, and versus God being in control. I don't think I'd have to go back and look, which would take a long time, but I don't think I've ever actually used that phrase here, because there's so much inside of that, and I think it's a dangerous game that we play with words, and words matter. Like, words matter, and I think I would also say this, that in the era of church, if you look at that language getting very popular in the 80s and 90s through Trinity Broadcast Network, people that were on like preaching TV and all of the things that came out of the prosperity gospel, that's where a lot of that language comes from. I think it's important to recognize that we also lost 78% of people after the age of 18. In the period where that was really at its height. And the question is why? Well, because when all we talk about is superfluous things that sound good but don't really give us answers for difficulty that we walk through. What we find is people that want to walk away from the gospel because they don't think it has any meat to it. And the gospel has meat. The gospel has roots. And we have to be willing to do the work to deal with the tension of those roots instead of pretending like it's just all good in the hood all the time.
Yeah. And if God is in control, then you have people that are, ticked off at God because, this thing happened in their life, and God, why didn't God intervene here? And why did this person have to die? If we continuously have that theology and we think that God is in control, then we have every right to be mad at God. But the thing is that God created this world, and God created this space for us to live in, to make these choices and all of that. And if we are saying that God is in control, then we are taking responsibility away from ourselves. Then it's just, we're able to live willy-nilly because God is in control, and that's dangerous. It's so dangerous for us to live that way and to think, well, I could just do whatever I want to do. Well, the reason why the world is the way that it is because there's a lot of people doing whatever the heck they want to do.
Yeah.
And so we have to really come to terms with, no, God is in control of making this universe that I live in, but he gave us responsibility here. Like, he gave us that free will so that we would have the opportunity to change, to evolve, to overcome, to get through those bad things. He provided that pathway. He has created that pathway for us to grow. He has created that pathway for us to get over these hills and humps, and to learn to love, and to learn to choose peace, and to learn to change some things about us that might not be that, awesome. He gave us that pathway. That is how God is in control, is he has created this world in order for us to live good and bad. Both things are here. But without both things, then we wouldn't have the opportunity to overcome those bad things, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. And one of the things that I think it's so beautiful in the way that it's found in the passage that we read this morning, but he talks about, like, we deal with these things in our life, we deal with these sufferings, we deal with these difficult seasons in our life because we live in a fallen world. And he's making it clear. He says, consider your suffering, but consider it in light of God's glory. And he goes on to say, we deal with these things because of the futility of the world that we live in, because of the brokenness of the world that we live in. And it's so important for us to be able to have that conversation of bad things happen for good people, for bad people, for people who deserve it.
Everybody.
Everybody. Good things happen randomly. There are people that you just meet them and you wonder, like, I know how much X person has screwed up. I know how much X person has made mistakes, but yet they just seem, everything that they touch their hand to just seems to turn to gold, you know?
Yeah.
And we can wonder sometimes, well, why is that God blessing them? Well, maybe it's not God blessing them. Maybe they're just naturally good at stuff. And imagine what their life would be if God actually was blessing them and actually doing work on their behalf. And so, I think that's good. That's good conversation. One of the phrases in the passage that we read this morning talks about the glory, and he talks about the glory as revealed inside of the gospel. So he says, consider that the sufferings of the present time, so what we're dealing with right here, right now, are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed. And so he's talking about glory that comes out of the beauty of the gospel. And so when I hear the word glory, I think about the hope of the second coming. I think about the Apostles' Creed. Often it says that he ascended. It tells us all the things about Jesus, but at the end of the Jesus portion of the Creed, it says that he ascended to heaven and he will come again to judge the living and the dead. I think about the return of Jesus in that space and the hope that provides. But I also think, like, for us being a Spirit-filled church, a Pentecostal church, there's also that aspect of experiencing the glory or the presence of God in a way that's life-changing, that's peace-giving, so that in seasons and moments that are difficult, that are challenging, we can actually still learn to rest in the presence of God.
Yeah. It's like having so much self-confidence of who God is inside of you, that when things do come and things do hit, you have that much trust and you have that much, you just don't it just doesn't bother you anymore, because you know who you are in Christ, and you know that through it, like, you will get through it. Like, because of, you have chosen to do what is right. You have chosen to take the correct path. You know that you'll be able to get through it, and you have confidence in who God is inside of you because of those things. I think, we can look back at all of our struggles and all of those things that have happened to us, in our life, and we struggle through those, and we have issues with them because, and we've talked about this before, because they have become our identity. They become who we are. We attach ourselves to them a little too much. And if we have so much confidence in who God is, then we just don't attach ourselves to those things. And we have confidence in God, knowing that we will get through because of who we are in Him. And I think in those moments and in having that confidence, we can really just let it roll off our shoulders, and we just don't worry about it because it's not who we are. We have no connection to it. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense.
I think it's good. We just got a text message question. I love that.
A text message?
You people, I got y'all on Facebook and
message.
YouTube, and y'all want to text me questions because we need a third way to get questions up in here. Now, the question says, how do you learn to have confidence that God is in you? I'll let you take a stab at it first.
Okay, what? Sorry, read that again.
How do you learn to have confidence that God is in you?
I think it's exactly what we were just talking about. It's the identity thing, and what that confidence of who God is inside of you. You have to figure out who God is. Like, you have to understand that God is peace, that God is sovereign, that God is love, that God is not fearful. All of those things. If you understand the character of God, and you do that through relationship, through spending time in your word, through spending time in just silence and prayer and all of those things. If you understand who God is, then you can start identifying with that because he lives inside of us. He resides here. And if you identify with, you know what, I am peace because God is living in, I have the ability to obtain peace because God is inside of me. I have confidence. I am love. I can be those things because God is living inside of me. And I think having that confidence of because God lives inside of me and those characteristics, I have the ability to identify with those characteristics of who God is. I think that is huge because then we're getting away from, well, I'm just a fearful person, or I'm just, I'm just, always angry or whatever. Those are the complete opposite of who God is. That is the opposite. That is what the world is. But if we identify with who God is inside of us, then we start slowly changing ourselves to actually become more and more of those things, more and more identifying with those things. And so if you are becoming more peaceful, if you are becoming more loving, if you are becoming more generous, then if somebody comes at you with the opposite of that, then for a fact that's not who you are because that's just not the characteristics that you're giving off. So I don't know if that answers the question or if that is.
No, I think it's a good response. I also think that there's just there are some things that only come in time. And I think so often when we think about walking with Christ and walking in our walk with him, that we want to turn our life over to Jesus and then
be done with it
and then just be done. It's all good. It's just, it's kind of like, it's the equivalent of like buying a gym membership gives you a 6-pack of abs. You know what I mean? Like it's that version of it.
Yeah.
But there's, we've talked about this in different contexts. I don't know that we've ever talked about it in a ministry context, like at church, but there's nothing wrong with people who find themselves single for life. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's a reality that there's some maturity dynamics that you only get from marriage.
Sure.
Like there's just
and having kids.
Yeah, and then you have layer number 2 is you have kids, and there is a different dynamic of making the mistake of having kids. I'm just kidding, but but no, in all seriousness, like kids just add a different layer to your life, and there is a reality that you don't know how selfish you are until you get married. And then you don't know how selfish you guys are as a couple till you have kids. I mean, there's just a reality of that. And I think the same thing is foundationally true in our relationship with God, that there's a reality that some things only come with time. And when we think about people who've made just a huge impact, either on the stage of the church at large that we still read generation after generation, or the people that are just so steady in their local church that they're just godly men and women that have walked with the Lord for a long time. I think about people like John and Sandy. Like they can accidentally have more wisdom than lots of us walking around because they've just learned to trust the Lord. They've just learned to follow the Lord. They've just learned to see his faithfulness through time and time again. And but like they didn't find Jesus and go, I've got it. We're just going to be this
Yep,
wise. No,
it's a journey.
It's time and it's effort
It's a
and
journey.
it's a walk. And so there's a lot of truth to that. It is, unfortunately, it's not hit this button, do these two things.
Nope.
Here's a quick fix. Here's the
One small step at a
here's
time.
the keyboard shortcut. Yeah, it's not that. It's finding Jesus and following him.
Yeah.
And
we
got to
be patient. We have to be patient with ourselves because we're not going to get it. We're not going to just know all the things and the stuff, right off the bat. It's going to take time and consistency and space and patience. And yeah.
No, for sure. Well, we are at 5:30. Do we have anything from the Facebook world?
No, but we have somebody, Gloria from Amarillo, who is on. And
Oh, cool.
She just said hi, and all the way from the Amarillo,
Amarillo.
Texas.
So she's from Texas?
Texas.
I don't know why I do that. I saw it on a Three Stooges episode when I was a kid, and there's a whole episode where they're constantly talking about somebody from Texas, and every time they say Texas, they go,
Isn't it like
Texas.
way down in Texas or something?
It might be from that song,
Is it?
like
I
Deep
don't
in the
know.
Heart of Texas.
Oh, I think
Deep in
that's
the
what
Heart
I'm
of Texas.
thinking. I don't know.
Yeah, that's your Pacific Northwest coming out. Way down there in Texas song. Yeah. Deep in
somewhere.
the heart of Texas. Anyway, y'all just discovered why I don't sing on Sunday morning. Well, that's cool. That's cool. I
No
didn't.
questions or anything, so that's fine. Probably because we took a minute with the BOGO microphone, but that's okay.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know what in the turd happened. It must be a
Microphone.
cable issue. We'll check it here when we get off air.
Went down.
And figure that out. But anyway, well, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight, whether you watched it here with us live or you watch it later in the week. Thank you so much for being a part, and we can't wait to see you this Sunday here at Oasis Church at 10 a.m. We'll see you then.
Bye.